is your right. But you protesting the results of an election means you are a bad loser and you're against the democratic process. What do you understand from this?
No.
If you win the election,
No.
I will protest.
No.
If I win, I celebrate. What is this?
When people elect Hitler to power, communists in Germany protested, many of them died. Hundreds of thousands of Jews were killed in the gas chambers. You should not protest. You should not protest fascism just because it's elected. What kind of theory is this?
Okay, then let's dismantle democracy and…
No, you don't dismantle
You are the
democracy.
only winner,
You
anybody
protest.
else wins, it
You
can't be.
protest, you have the right to protest, you have the right to write, you have the right to say it's wrong. You are in a minority until you are in a majority, you see.
No, you can protest in terms of saying something, writing something, whatever.
That's all.
You can't say, pull him down tomorrow morning.
Who said to pull him down
People
tomorrow
are
morning?
saying on the television, he must be fired tomorrow.
No, that is some extremist fringe group. There are lunatic fringe groups everywhere, there must be some. But the women who turned out in large numbers in all capitals of the world, the largest ever street demonstration in the history of the globe, that's for nothing. I hope you won't say like Donald Trump that these are all cooked up figures, because he believes in post-truth.
No. See, this is what I am saying is, he is the last man that I would support. But I bow down to the principle of democracy because I know the consequence of challenging that.
Certainly. I mean, on that there is no quarrel. I don't think we are saying we should not respect
I have no
democratic
quarrel on
verdicts.
anything.
So on that there is certainly no quarrel. It is just that
you have a set idea about things. Let me talk to you about this. You said the new age gurus. That means they're of this age. I want everybody, whether you're a journalist or a politician or a religious person or a scientist, I want you to be contemporary, new age. I don't want you ancient people living here. Ancient people should be dead and buried. So if they are new age, I'm happy. I don't want ancient gurus here, because one has to be relevant to the times, otherwise what's the point? If they behave like ancient people, you will say they're archaic. If they respond to the modern society, you will say they are new age gurus. What are they supposed to do?
No, that's not what I meant by New Age gurus. What you mean, what everyone understands by New Age gurus is this post-marketization, market-branded, corporatized gurus. That's what I mean by New Age gurus.
That means they're successful and you don't like it.
They are financially hugely successful, they have big empires, and they sow distrust and they sow confusion among the people, generally.
See, let the people decide whether they're getting confused or they're getting clarity. Why do you decide that?
I'm not deciding that, I'm giving you my view of it.
You are saying they're spreading confusion and this, that. If that is so, they wouldn't come.
No, people go…
This is coming from an ivory tower, an intellect which assumes it is sitting on top of a tower, everybody else is stupid and dumb, they are being confused but they're still flocking to that place. No.
It's easier for you to just call me a fool instead of going round and round circles. That doesn't deter me, unfortunately.
I am not here to abuse anybody, please. But why are we abusing common people? At one level you say you cannot underestimate their intelligence, but here you are saying they're all fools, they will go to a place where they're being confused and misled and whatever. Maybe there is some value to it that you don't see.
We have had religion and politics in this country Gandhi is the greatest example. Gandhi is a great man who held politics and he wove religion into it. He spoke about Ramarajya. There were critics who criticized Gandhi. I'm not one of those. I think Gandhi was an exemplary kind of leader of his people. He had the masses with him. He defied the masses very often. When the masses were out on the street, he said nothing doing. He went on fast. When India was attaining independence, he was on fast. I don't have to narrate all this history.
See,
This is very different. What you are seeing here is a kind of insular, sectarian, majoritarian, fascistic almost propagation of…
Where are you seeing these people?
Every day, all around us.
Where? I don't see them. Where do you see them?
You must open your eyes, you'll see that. The problem with sadhana is if you're closing your eyes, you might be able to see them,
No, see the thing is, we have assumed things about people. Instead of assuming things, why don't we meet the common people who gather there? What is it that they're getting from that assembly? Something of some value must be happening to them. They're not going on any violent spree, The thing is, oh, they built empires. Where is the empire? Are there palaces built? No. Empires built, boundary set up? No. They're breaking all barriers. They're having access to the entire world in one way or the other. Now, the thing is, if you spread, you will say you're building an empire. If you don't, you will say you're no good, all right? So I'm telling you this, let's look at it this way. I am the last one to support all the spurious nonsense that happens in the name of religion, okay? Let me make this clear. But at the same time, taking a general judgment on everybody and saying, this is it, all of them are spurious, all of them are misleading people. No. Many of them, I'll tell you one thing. About 7 years ago, I was in the United States and somebody told me, Sadhguru, every day about 100,000 people are typing out the word spiritual on the net. Then I said, okay, type it out and see what comes. They typed out the word spiritual. The first thing that comes is a spa in Mexico. The next thing that comes out is a call girl in Northern California. When I saw this, I said, what's happening? India has been the gateway for spirituality forever. Everybody looked east for thousands of years. What has happened to us? Let us do something. So I thought, I had never met any spiritual leader till that moment, 7 years ago. I had never stayed stage with anybody, I have never been to any ashrams, I have largely not visited most of the temples in the country. But I decided I will put them together. I made hundreds of phone calls and a few ashrams and places I visited for the first time. I did find many of them were completely innocent of integrity. It was an eye-opener for me, I never thought people could be like this. But at the same time, I found many people who were doing a fabulous work among people, very quietly, without any publicity, very gently. In their areas, they're doing a wonderful job. So I met both kinds of people and I tried to put them together on a one platform saying, this is not like you have to believe in this or that. You can believe, disbelieve, whatever. Just everybody who is working for the spiritual well-being of Indian citizens come together and offer this to the world on a portal where people can choose. If you say spirituality, India should come up first, then let them choose where they want to go. For whatever reasons, some people had reservations and stuff. Some religious groups came and, from death threats to all kinds of threats happened. Then I saw, if you're not interested, what's my problem? I have no such problem. I said, okay, leave it there. But why I'm telling you this is, there are all kinds of people in every trade and in every sphere of life. There are very corrupt doctors, but there are many wonderful ones every day saving thousands of lives. There are wonderful journalists and there are horrible corrupt journalists. There are wonderful policemen and officers, there are very corrupt ones. There are wonderful politicians and very corrupt ones. Similarly, spiritual realm also has its share of everything.
Thank you, I'm glad you said there are some wonderful journalists. That's very
I didn't put you in that.
No, I did ask to be put in that, But what you are saying underlines or reinforces what I at least meant to say in the beginning, that religion should be a private affair, it should be a personal affair, it should not be part of the public sphere. The moment religion becomes part of the public sphere, it becomes identity politics, as we have seen happening in this country. It becomes mobilizing people on the basis of religion. It becomes factionalism, it becomes majoritarianism and minoritarianism.
No question about
it becomes extremism of the Hindutva variety and extremism of the Islamic fundamentalist variety and all other kinds of extremisms. We have not had it so acutely bad until the recent post-liberalization phase. And that has coincided with the rise of what I call the New Age gurus and this whole religiosity in the public sphere. That can't be a sheer coincidence.
I would say, knowing at least a few people and the nature of their work, if the many gurus who are in the country were not there, there would be blood on the street.
Or because they are there is blood on the street?
No. Because if they were not there, there would be blood on the street.
There has been blood on the street.
There has been, I am
They're
not
for
saying
more.
there hasn't been. You need to understand this. For 1,000 years we've been an occupied nation in many different forms, and there has been violence on the basis of religion, there has been force. So these things are happening, unfortunate things, but they're happening. But in reality, they are
When, in
much…
your opinion, did that occupation begin?
No.
It's an important question. When did you think we became an occupied
Occupation?
nation?
Huh?
When did you think, at what point in history did we become an occupied nation? In your scheme of history?
I know what you're driving at. We become occupied when something is taken by force. A natural… if you know, a natural meeting and mingling of cultures and things changing is different. But when things happen by force, that's called an occupation in definition. But I'm telling you, not just in India, everywhere in the world, religious violence is much lower today than ever before. If you look back 3 centuries ago, what was happening and what's happening today, it is way little. It is just because of 24/7 media channels. If 10 people die in one corner of the country, the blood spills into our sitting rooms and bedrooms and everywhere. But 1,000 years ago, if 1,000 people died in another part of the country, we would sit here watching peacefully the sunset, not being bothered about what's happening there because we wouldn't know anyway. We would never know probably, maybe we would know after a year. So the thing is, because of communication, it looks like a lot is happening, but let's acknowledge this. For the first time, I am telling you, 21st century, for the first time, we as human beings are a lot more peaceful than any other century in the last 20-25 centuries.
I think we were until a decade or two back. You see, you can't compare what we are doing now with 300 years and 1,000 years.
Okay.
There has been progress, there's been modernism, there has been
In the
science.
last decade, you think there's much more
civilizations
violence?
hopefully evolve, they don't regress. But now we are… it looks like we are regressing. How can you compare?
In the last decade, let's take last decade. Since 1950 till 2000, how many of these communal and religious clashes have happened? And how many have happened since then, if you look at it, it is way less. All the numbers and statistics will tell you this.
Well, 2002 wasn't exactly a peaceful time,
It is
particularly
not.
in
See,
Gujarat.
nobody is trying to give credibility to those events. These are horrible events. But you must understand this. We are addressing these issues only when it spills on the street. We must see this, the moment you hold something, the moment you hold something that only you can be right, I am wrong, it's only a question of time before we clash, okay? My way is the only way. If you hold this belief, when it is going to spill on the street, when blood is going to spill, is only a question of time. So we need to bring that down. You can do what the hell you want, I will do what the hell I want. I don't have to call you names, which I don't. You should not call me names.
Certainly won't.
Because you may think you're doing very useful. I also know that I am doing something very, very useful. And there are millions of people who will acknowledge that it is super useful for them. If you think it's trash, it's unfortunate. Because to receive and to digest certain dimensions of life, you need a certain level of receptivity. You must understand this. Going at everything intellectually is a very poor way of going at life, because intellect is a knife. Tell me, would you choose to have a sharp intellect or a blunt one? What is your choice?
Sorry? A sharp intellect,
Sharp,
certainly, yeah.
you would like a sharp one. So it's like a knife. Whatever you give the intellect, it will make a dissection of it and look at it. So if I really want to know you, should I dissect you?
Mentally, yes, perhaps. I mean, if that's the way you will know me. I think it varies. I don't think everybody knows everyone else the same way. There's no…
I'm telling you, there is another way of knowing life. By sheer embrace, you can know life. You don't have to dissect it. So if you go at everything as a dissection, if I dissect you, I will know you have 2 kidneys and liver and whatever else, but I will not know you. To know you, it needs inclusion. So if you go intellectually, knowingly or unknowingly, you keep on dissecting everything. This is like you want to stitch something but you use a knife, all you'll have is tatters. This is what the so-called intellectuals are doing, getting the world into tatters and they're thinking they're doing something fantastic.
No, I think having a zombie-like peace, having a zombie-like fatalism…
Do I look
No,
zombie-like?
no, no. No, not at all. I'm saying having a zombie-like fatalism, which has been the curse of India for a long time. We are a fatalistic people. That you should not question certain
Let me
things.
correct that. Can I correct that?
Huh.
This is the only land, please listen to me again. This is the only land on the planet where we have been told for thousands of years that your life is your karma, which means your life is your making. That means nobody up there managing you.
Absolutely. You say that in your book. You say man should be the master of his destiny, not in as many words, that when if you take hold of your destiny, destiny takes charge. You say that, I think. But the point is, in what you subsequently roll out, it doesn't give me charge of my life. It's too prescriptive, it is too fatalistic, it leaves me no choice but to belong to a particular creed and a particular belief system. That's the problem.
Belief and spirituality cannot exist together, because the fundamental of belief is you assume things that you do not know. The fundamental of seeking is you have admitted that you do not know. I do not know is a tremendous possibility. If you deny this, is it because of your exaggerated belief or your intellect? Both ways, people deny this. They deny these qualities have risen up somewhere. But these are all things on this planet, expression of joy, love and peace happened only from a human being and some other creatures also. Dogs are loving, many other creatures are loving, but it never rained from up there, ever. This is a fact, all right? Using this fact, this sense of being peaceful and happy is not the end goal. Joy is a fundamental ambience that you need. If you want everything within you to unfold, particularly if human genius has to unfold, it's very, very important that you are in a pleasant state of experience. There is substantial medical and scientific evidence today which clearly shows you that only in pleasant states of experience, human intellect and genius will unfold. In unpleasant states of experience, sometimes in strife you do incredible things, but it won't last, it's just a momentary thing. Because of danger, because of being suppressed, because of being cornered, something may come out, but that's only a momentary flash. But if you want a continuous outflow from you, you must be in a pleasant state of experience. So happiness is not the goal to seek in heaven. Happiness is the fundamental ambience that is needed for you. If you want to enjoy your dinner tonight, you must be at least happy, if not ecstatic. If you want to enjoy a walk on the beach, you must at least be happy. If you want to enjoy the few people that you live with, you must at least be happy. So let's understand happiness and joy and peacefulness as most fundamental requirements, basic ambience in our life. This is not the final goal.
Keep your desires alive, let them flow in you. This is something you have always stood for. I've also read or heard that desire is the root cause for unhappiness. So, could you help me understand this better?
Not desire, unfulfilled desire. Desire and fulfillment of desire, ask them, is a source of much joy and pleasure in their life. Unfulfilled desire is misery. Or in other words, desire does cause misery. Because no matter how many desires you have fulfilled, the very nature of the desire is such, one desire will always be unfulfilled. Because of that one unfulfilled desire, people are miserable. 1,000,000 desires have been fulfilled, but today there is one desire unfulfilled, they are still unhappy. They are not looking at those 1,000,000 desires, this one thing not fulfilled, they're unhappy. I did not say you must keep your desire alive. Do what you want, you can't kill it. If you have this thing that I want to kill all my desire, that is also a desire and it'll remain always unfulfilled.
In the book, you talk about the monkey example. You know? Imagine, can you get monkey out of your mind, and the man can only think about monkey.
That's another dimension of the mind, but I'm saying that desire, people wanting to give up desire, that itself is a desire. And it'll always remain an unfulfilled desire. So I'm correcting this, saying, it is not that I ever said you must keep your desires alive. You can't kill it. Kill it and see, let me see. You do what you want, you can't kill it. People think, oh, I have given up all my desire, I want only God. What you're saying is, I don't want pieces of creation, I want the source of creation. This is super greedy. How do you think that you've given up desire? Now you want the very source of creation because small pieces of creation didn't settle you.
So where does this fine line between desire and greed fall?
What I have is desire, what you have is greed. It's always a label that we put on somebody else. What I have is a very reasonable desire, what you have is greed. That's how that word has come.
And thinking about inner engineering, Guruji, would it be right to say that the mind is the most vulnerable machine in the body?
Why is it vulnerable? It is the most fantastic thing. See, this
desire and
this
greed,
is what,
everything happens.
this is
in
the
the
fundamental thing that in many ways we are bringing about a change in people's way of looking at it. It took millions of years of evolution to develop this much cerebral capability. But today, what is the source of people's misery? Every individual's, everybody, I don't know to what extent you are exposed to human misery. Every day I'm meeting thousands of people. How many varieties of ways of suffering they've invented means unbelievable. Anything you give them, they're capable of suffering. So, this human intelligence or the cerebral capability happened over millions of years of tremendous work. I want you to imagine from an amoeba to someone like you or me right now, how much work has happened to bring this to this level of capability and sensitivity. But now that is a problem because most people are in this state. For every solution they have a problem. Yes. For every solution they have a problem. Now, this flowering of human intelligence is the biggest solution for everything, but that is the only problem most people have right now. What is it that they are suffering? What happened 10 days ago, they can still suffer. Yes? What happened 10 years ago, still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, you already suffer. You are not suffering life. You are suffering the two most significant faculties of being human, a vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination. This is what you're suffering. You're not suffering life. What is the most fantastic gift, what sets us apart from every other creature on this planet, that is what you're suffering. Or in other words, you're suffering evolution. You want to go back. So people's idea of being peaceful is, I think Kerala is a dry state. But, so those who can afford will get knocked out with whatever they drink here. What is it that you're trying to do? You're trying to dull the intelligence because the damn thing bothers you. It bothers you not because it's a problem, it bothers you because you've been given an instrument for which you have not bothered to read the user's manual. Simply do something and you think mind is the source of suffering, desire is the source of suffering. No. These are the most fantastic things that have happened to you. If you had come here like any other creature, stomach full, life settled. Once you come as a human being, stomach empty, only one problem. Stomach full, 100 problems. These are not problems, these are possibilities that you are treating them as problems. Every possibility is a problem for those who don't realize the possibility. But human nature is such, you place him wherever you want. he will not be fulfilled, he wants something more. But if you look at this, what he wants is not more, he wants all. All is an inclusive state. But when you're in the path of more, you will be in conquest. You will be in this word called greed, or simply continue shopping, whatever. But if it became all, if your desire became for all, because you understand, in installments you're trying to go towards infinity. You cannot count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and say infinite one day, it's never going to happen. You'll only become endless counting. If you sit down and look at… everybody must do this. You must sit down and look at the nature of your desire. You will see it is not for this object or that object. Whatever is given, you want the next one. Okay, right now, anyway you have the imagination, every damn thing that can be given to you is given. Let's say I made you the king or queen of this planet, will you be fulfilled, I'm asking? You will look at the rest of the solar system. If I give you the solar system, will you be fulfilled? You look at the galaxy. If I give you one galaxy, will you be fulfilled? You look at the other galaxies. This is the nature of human. It doesn't matter how many idiotic philosophies and pacifist philosophies have been taught. Nobody has been able to quell the human longing. Not for one person has it worked. It works only when you're very sick or too old for anything. Otherwise it doesn't work. When you're very ill, you'll say podum, podum, podum. But tomorrow morning little doing well, again, on.
We are also witness to the youth of today. It has been seen gravitating towards alcohol or drug addictions as a result of their search for happiness or search for pleasure. How can you show them what real happiness is? How can this be made into unadulterated bliss?
It's like this. I've been looking at this. I was in New York City with a very large group of people, and I asked them a simple question. How many people in New York City can sit through an evening peacefully without even a glass of wine? I'm putting wine as the lowest dose. Others, in New York City, people need various things. After much debate, they said 5%. I was in London, very prominent group of people, I asked the same question. What percentage of people in London can sit through the evening without even a glass of wine? They said less than 1%. In India, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, in a small town or a village, there will be 5–10 people who drink. That too, they don't drink at home, they go somewhere, hiding behind a tree somewhere. I know when we were growing up, people go and meet in the cremation ground to drink because nobody will come. And because spirits, it goes well. So, that's how it was. People will say, oh, that family, they're drunkards, you can't give your girls to that family, this kind of thing. Today, at least I don't know how it's here, in the north at least, if you don't serve alcohol, nobody will come to your wedding. They'll ask first, is there a cocktail party, otherwise we're not coming. Okay? So, it's gone 1,000, 10,000% in a matter of 25–30 years. Why is this? People think it's because of marketing. No. The thing is this, human intellect is firing like never before. Never before in the history of humanity, so many people could think for themselves. For a long time, your scripture, your priest, your pandit, your guru, somebody thought for you. Now, too many people, a whole lot of people can think for themselves. They're thinking right, wrong, we don't have to make the judgment, but they're thinking. The problem with thinking is this, when you think, it has to be logically correct. See, why two people are arguing with each other is because both the people think they're logically correct. It is not that one person is arguing for logic, another person is arguing for illogic, no. Both of them always think they're logically correct, all right? Because the nature of the thought itself is such, the progression of thought itself is such, in some way, at least within yourself, it must be logically correct. So now you come to a place, unless something is logically correct, you cannot swallow it. So once this happens, believe me, heavens will collapse. Oh, where are they? Wherever they are, they will collapse. Should I explore the heaven a little bit? Is it safe for me? What is there in heaven? In the Hindu heaven, food is very good. If you're a foodie, that's where you must go. In another heaven, there was those white-gowned ladies floating in the clouds. You like that kind of ambience, you go there. In another heaven, you'll encounter virgin problems and stuff. If you like that, you go there. These are all different types of heavens which have lived in people's minds for a long time. These imaginations have kind of handled people's longing. They were always told, it doesn't matter, your life is bad here, when you go there everything will be great, all your difficulties will be rewarded there. This was going on for a long time. Now because people are thinking logically, heavens are collapsing in their mind. Here they want to do it, everything, all right? Anyway, there you said rivers flow with wine. They want to do it right here now because heaven has collapsed in their mind. Believe me, in another 20 to 30 years, maximum 50 years' time, all heavens will collapse largely, 90% of the heaven will collapse in people's minds. So when that happens, a large-scale movement towards chemicals will happen. For example, United States. Why I'm taking United States as an example is not because of the new president, because it's the most affluent nation on the planet. Affluence means this, every human being is working towards their affluence in some way, or societies are working, nations are working. What is the intent? At the first stage you believe if affluence comes, you will have a choice of nourishment. At the second stage you believe if affluence comes, you will have a choice of lifestyle. So the most affluent nation which have the highest level of choice of nourishment and lifestyles, 70% of the American population is on prescription medication. That means to be healthful, you need chemicals. To be peaceful, you need chemicals. Marijuana is legal, at least in 5 states, I think. To be joyful, you need chemicals. If you want to have a taste of ecstasy, you need chemicals. Once you need chemicals for everything, let us say in the next 50, 60 years, if the humanity moves in this direction, 90% of the humanity is on some kind of chemical, prescribed or otherwise. When this happens, what will happen is the next generation that we produce will be genetically less than who we are. This is a crime against humanity. One fundamental responsibility we have as a generation is, the next generation we produce must be at least 1 notch better than us. If they are less than us, we have failed as a generation and as human beings. This will happen unless you bring about a logically correct, scientifically verifiable spiritual process where people know how to take charge of their experience. Today I can show you millions of people, if they as much as close their eyes and say, tears of ecstasy will flow. If you do not create this large scale, you will have a large scale movement towards alcohol and drugs. You cannot stop it, because human longing to experience something more is not something that you can stop with morality or ethic or rules or prohibitions, whatever, you cannot stop it. Only by heightening the inner experience, the need will go away, because your experience of who you are is better than anything you can get in the marketplace. Look at me, my eyes, I'm always stoned. Never touched a substance in my life, but it's always like that. People have done some tests and they tell me that my blood is full of melatonin all the time. My pulse rate is like around 40, if I simply sit quietly. So when you're feeling so pleasant within yourself, why would you want to mess it with something from outside? This we have to bring to our youth, to our children. We have to make them understand the seat of human experiences within us. Experience of all kinds, joy and misery, pain and pleasure, agony and ecstasy, is the source of it is within us. If you take charge of it, it's your choice. What is your experience? Not just yoga. See, right now the way we are going, if all the 7.3 billion people use all the modern technology and become super industrious, this planet has just 12 to 15 years. 50% of the people are lazy. That is what is saving the world. It's not the right way to go. Human love, human intelligence, human sense should have saved the planet, but unfortunately human lethargy is saving the planet. But I'm not against the lazy because at least they're not harming anybody. Huh? I'm not saying it's good, but it is better than destructive activity.
Guruji, I've heard you're an avid biker. So I'd like to know which is going to be your next destination and why.
The next… this bike thing is all overdone up and I see some of the magazines have written that I ride a Harley Davidson. I wouldn't want to be seen dead on a Harley Davidson. I have more sense about motorcycles than that. That's not a bike, that's half a car. But when I was riding, it was all the Czech bikes, the Javas and the SDs, which we used it to the limit. I was just telling them, this particular road was my favorite. I started off at Goa and went to Kanyakumari and back again 11 times, up and down, trekking through the mountains and all that. So, next destination, because this is happening in September, I'm driving, not riding, maybe a segment I will ride. I'm driving from Leh, Ladakh down to Kanyakumari and back to New Delhi again. This is to campaign in 16 states for the state of our rivers. On an average, all Indian rivers are depleting by 8% per year. Most rivers that we have, which have been perennial for millions of years probably, will become seasonal rivers in a matter of another 15–20 years' time. For example, Kaveri, for which two states are at war with each other, 2.5 to 3 months it doesn't touch the ocean. Krishna doesn't touch the ocean for over 4 months. Like this we can go on. Terrible statistics are there. The northern rivers are a different matter because they're ice-fed rivers, that's a global situation, you can't change that so simply. But all the southern rivers are forest-fed rivers. If we take appropriate action now, in the next 10–15 years, we can bring up the river at least 10 to 20% from what it is now. Our children need not see rivers in a museum, they can see a genuine river. Being in Kerala with all this water, don't be fooled. You do one thing from Calicut, Kozhikode, you fly to Delhi, look down, all along, it's brown desert, except for a few green patches in here and there. I want all of you to look at it. Next time you fly, please look down and see our entire nation, we're converting it to a desert. When I say desert, what is the difference between desert and the fertile lands that we have is phenomenal amount of bioactivity on the surface, on the topsoil. But once you plow the land and leave it open to sunlight for over 6 months at a stretch, all the bioactivity sinks below 12 to 18 inches. This means in another 25 years, what you see as soil today will become sand. This is a no-brainer, this doesn't take any great scientist to tell you this. Anybody who knows land knows this. And from the age of 12 to 17, every day, almost every day, at least the 5 weekdays, every week, 5 days at least, I swam in Kaveri, in Mysore. Today, if I see the river, I feel like crying because it's around 40% or less than what it used to be. This river will not be there in another 50 years' time. It'll be completely gone. Many tributaries, Kaveri has over 70 tributaries. Out of this, at least 20 of them are totally gone. They don't exist anymore. We don't even understand a river has tributaries. If you don't take care of the tributaries, there'll be no river. So we want to spread a massive awareness about this. We are preparing a policy document which we want to present to the federal or the central government so that there is a river policy in the country. Right now, all our river policies are about how best can we exploit it. That time is gone. how to regenerate these rivers. This is what we need to think about if we want to leave a living India for our children. Because this is a land which is grown on rivers. This is a culture and a civilization that's evolved out of river banks. If we want to if you want to live a living India, not a dry, dead India, it's very important we do this. So as a part of this, I drive. Of course, I enjoy driving across the country. It's not a crime to enjoy it.
Do you watch movies, Guruji, as a small part of the world of cinema? I'd like to know.
There was a time when I watched a lot of movies, but I must admit I have not watched too many Indian movies. Because we were traveling all the time in different states, so I did not take to any particular language. English was the thing, so we watched English movies. But now, I would like to watch, but time-wise, 3 hours doesn't happen.
What kind of movies used to interest you, like action, comedy?
I think I never looked at the content of the movie. I always looked at the quality of how it is done, the cinematography, the acting and stuff. For me, the story, whether it's comedy, this, that never mattered. For me, the main thing is… See, my life is like this, I must tell you this. Right from my childhood, when I look at something, I know the first thing I see is the geometry of it. I don't see the colors. Even if a human being is sitting, if I just look at you, first thing I see is the geometry of how you're sitting. This is what first I grasp. I will take a lot of time to grasp the other aspects. First thing is always geometry. If I see a human being, how they're sitting right now, I will tell them in the next 10–15 years, what ailments will they have, what problems will they have right now. Just looking at the geometry of their body, if they're in that pose, what will happen to them? In a way, the entire yogic system is just this, that getting your geometry in alignment with the larger geometry of the existence, so that your ability to perceive suddenly takes a huge leap, that because you're in symmetry with something, suddenly you grasp things like you never imagined possible. Like you never imagined possible. Today, modern constructional theories, scientific theories are saying that the geometry or the fundamental design of an atom and the cosmos are same. This is something for always yogic science has been saying, Anda Pindanda are same. It is just complexity and sophistication is multiplying, but essentially it's the same. So if you understand the geometry of how the human system is made, by inference, you almost know everything in the existence because everything is geometrically aligned with this.
What do you think is the relevance of yoga in…
Oh, you left cinema so easily.
So, I thought you do not watch movies. I'd like to know who your favorite actors are.
Oh, I was oh, Gregory Peck, long time ago. Humphrey Bogart, but they're all dead. So, I was in conversation with Subhash Ghai. Unfortunately, I had not seen any of his movies. I'm sorry, I have not seen any of the Malayalam movies either. So, as we were talking, it's a large group of people and suddenly asked, Sadhguru, tell us, which film actress were you in love with when you were a young man? I said, well, there were enough local girls, I didn't have to look to Mumbai to fall in love with somebody. Mysore was good.
So can I go to the next question? Yeah. Okay. So you have spoken in so many platforms all over the world. So is there any particular experience or a stage that you… that's your favorite or you like to remember always?
Oh. Best, when I simply sit, when I do nothing, I'm at my best. People around me know this. When I simply sit, that is the most powerful moment. Talking is… just to get them out of their mess and get them into my mess a little bit. Okay? Because they don't understand any other language. But once I have their attention, all our advanced programs are in total silence and they are the most powerful. So, because you watch all these videos and stuff and whatever, the social media and everything, don't think I'm always talking. Most of the time I'm not speaking.
And please allow me to ask one more question before I conclude my part in this beautiful conversation. How would you tell me about your life in one sentence?
I thought I'll…
You saying somewhere that you're just someone who has figured out what life is all about. That was a beautiful way of putting it. I really liked it. So I just wanted to hear from you. Is there any other way you can explain?
You want it in one sentence?
Would be nice.
I thought I lived a little more complex and sophisticated life than one sentence, so I'll take a few sentences. See, who I am right now stems not from an aspiration or an ambition or even a desire. It is the only thing, the only and only thing that I have truly known is just that I know this piece of life from its origin to its ultimate. It's very… I cannot articulate further than that. You said I'm a wordsmith, I'm not. I'm quite dumbstruck when it comes to my experience. It's only around it I can talk about it. But I know this piece of life from its origin to its ultimate. Because I know this, and when I see every life is made the same way with small… they think they're different, okay?
Thank you very much.
So, because of this, by inference, when I speak, people think I know everything. This is how people, in universities, big universities in the United States, they're introducing, this is a man who can answer any question for you. I keep reminding them, there's only one thing.